matter what you sell at the end of the day, we have to remember that all buying decisions are emotional, okay? People at the end of the day make decisions based on emotion, right? It might be towards achieving a goal, it might be towards achieving a financial outcome, but the emotion at the end of the day is what gets the person to say yes or no. And because buying decisions are emotional, we need to actually work on how likable we can be as salespeople. Because again, even if we sell the most greatest product and we work for the best company, if the person buying from us doesn't trust us, doesn't like us, doesn't see us as a favorable business partner, our chances are going down the drain, guys. So in this video, what we're gonna talk about is how you can become more likable as a sales rep. What's going on, everybody? Danilo Caprick here, aka the best dressed man in tech sales. Don't forget it. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can become more likable as a sales professional. And I'm not talking about likable in the sense that everybody wants to be friends with you, but I mean, how can you actually increase the likelihood that people want to meet with you again, that people see value in your meetings, and that they see you as a professional that they genuinely want to do business with, okay? So with that said, guys, let's dive straight in so you can get this content. The first thing that we need to do in order to become more likable as a sales professional is we need to stop hogging all of the attention, okay? What I mean by this is don't put the spotlight and make the whole meeting about you, your company, your product, your service, and what you sell, okay? Your first meeting with any prospect should ideally not even talk about your company, your product, your service at all. It should be 100% about the prospect, their business, and them. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that matter in this equation, right? Not us. We're just the salesperson, and our product and company is always going to be there. We need them more than they need us, okay? So for that reason, we need to make shit all about them, and we need to stop hogging the attention and putting things on ourselves, because that's just going to turn off the prospect. It's going to make them realize, oh, this person doesn't really care about me. And we're not going to get the information that we need about them if we're too busy talking about ourselves, right? The other thing, guys, is there's been more of a conditioned response in the market lately. And I've actually been speaking with executives about this and getting more data points about how they feel when sales reps do this. And what happens is when you talk about yourself and you immediately start leading the meeting by talking about your product, your company, your service, buyers go to sleep. Buyers go to sleep because there's a million tools and things just like you. And the easiest way to stand out is to not talk about yourself at all and just keep the attention on the other person, okay? So this is step one in terms of becoming more likable as a sales professional. Not only is the customer going to find more value in the conversation when we talk about them, but they're going to feel more valued, right? They're going to feel heard, listened to, and understood, which at the end of the day will increase trust and increase the potential that they like us and want to meet with us again or find value in the meeting. So don't forget it. Step number one, don't hog the attention. Don't put the spotlight on you. Make your first meeting all about the prospect. Number two, you need to show up informed, okay? If you show up and you ask questions like, so tell me about your business, or what are you working on? Or what are your top initiatives? Oh, they're going to immediately be like, oh my God, I shouldn't have taken this call. This guy does not know anything about us. So what we need to do, guys, is number one, to make this a more enjoyable conversation for the prospect. Everybody likes to be maybe not lazy, but most people don't enjoy doing extra work, right? Is that fair to say? I think most people don't enjoy doing extra work. So think about this from the prospect's point of view. If they have to show up to a sales call and explain to you their entire company, their business model, what they do, their role, that's just time wasted. Number one, you could have already showed up with all that information. And two, because they had to go ahead and re-explain all that to you, they're looking at you as uninformed, right? So there goes your credibility. So instead, guys, what we can do to actually gain credibility and increase the likelihood that the customer enjoys the meeting with us and enjoys spending time with us is we need to show up informed. And the easiest way to do this, you guys, is with what I like to call the business overview. So as soon as I get into the meeting and I discuss the purpose of the call, the first thing I go into is a quick business overview. And basically that is a 2 to 3 sentence rundown of their business and my impression of their business and how they make money. So for example, for an insurance company, I might say, okay, looks like you guys have 12 branches in the United States, 400 employees, and the primary ways that you guys create revenue is by selling this kind of policy, this kind of policy, this kind of policy, and maybe you guys have a loan segment too, right? Whatever it is. But I'm calling out what are the business units that produce revenue. I'm calling out how their company is dispersed geographically, maybe when they were founded, and really a rundown of the products they sell to make money. So that's the quick business overview, and you won't believe how much credibility something like that can make when you just show up and run through that. Because now they don't have to re-explain it to you. they can just tell you, yep, that's accurate, or you know what, you missed a few things, and then they'll fill in the gaps. So I can't emphasize this point enough, you guys. Show up informed, all right? This is going to make it less work for the prospect, and everybody likes doing less work. So to increase the likelihood that they want to meet with us again, let's make it easier on the prospect, and let's do the research and show up informed. Number 3, we cannot be pushy about next steps, okay? Have you ever been in a clothing store or a furniture store and a salesperson was pushy? Ooh, how did that make you feel, right? I know I've been pushed by a salesperson before, a car salesperson, and I'm just so immediately turned off, and it's just like, ugh, get away from me, right? So if we're too busy trying to push the prospect into our buying process or our sales cycle, it's gonna be really obvious, and they're going to want to get as far away from us as possible. So the best way to avoid this is at the end of the sales call, you can use this kind of language. So based on the conversation today, I have a couple ideas of what next steps could be, but before I rattle that off, I wanna ask you personally, what do you think that our next step should be? And just let them talk, because this is going to let them have the first say in terms of what the next step should be, and they might release some additional information that you didn't know about, right? They might go ahead and say, oh, well, you know, there's someone else from my team that I want to involve in this, and they're out on PTO for the next 2 weeks, so I think we should meet in 4 weeks, and they might share some other stuff too, right? But again, let them share what they think next step should be first, because this is going to eliminate the entire possibility of them seeing you as being pushy, because they're creating the next step, right? We're not saying anything. We're just saying, what would you like to do? And we're letting them drive, okay? We are not driving them. We are letting them drive. So that's the way we can remove the possibility of being perceived as pushy and give the prospect the impression that they are in complete control, which they are. It's not even an impression thing, but they are in control. So again, guys, that is how we can avoid that, and again, increase the likelihood of being received in a positive light by our prospect. The fourth and final thing that we need to do to increase the likelihood of being perceived in a positive perspective by the prospect is we need to admit when they're not a good fit, okay? I know, especially for young sellers, you hate to disqualify prospects because you need every bit of pipeline, but I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Buyers really, really respect the hell out of you when you tell them and admit, hey, you know what? I actually think you're not a great fit. And this builds up so much trust because they can tell that you're not just a hungry, thirsty sales rep trying to make a deal, right? Because again, when let's just put yourself in those shoes for a second. Let's say you go to a gym, right? And somebody is talking to you about personal training packages or a diet plan or whatever. And all of a sudden they say, you know what? Based on our conversation today, I actually don't think you'd be a good fit for this program. I think you should talk to so-and-so down the street and they have this, this, and this for that reason, right? You're probably gonna be like, wow, like, thank you, because they're telling you, hey, you know what? You're not for this. You should actually go do this over there. And the fact that they didn't try to sell you on their thing is gonna make them more trustworthy to you, right? So admit when people are not a good fit, because here's the thing. The fact that they're not a good fit today doesn't mean they're not a good fit forever, right? They might be a good fit in 6 months or in 12 months, whatever it is that they need to do to become a good fit. But if you can tell them at that first meeting, hey, you know what? I genuinely don't think you're a good fit for this product for this, this, and this reason. You're going to build so much trust. And the next time you want to meet with them again or to get an update, they're gonna say yes. They're gonna say yes because they trust you and you were so upfront with them in that first meeting that you said, hey, you know what? This isn't for you, all right? So that's the fourth and final thing, guys. Admit when you do not see a clear fit. By no means try to force them through your process, because if you do that and they're really not a good fit, then you're just gonna waste their time, and then they're really not gonna wanna meet with you again, and they're not gonna like you. So the key thing there, guys, admit when they're not a good fit. So there you have it, guys. 4 specific steps that we can take to be more likable as sales professionals, increase the likelihood that a prospect wants to meet with us again, and increase trust. So let's go ahead and recap really quick so we don't forget what we talked about. Pull out your notes, you ready? Number 1, we talked about how to not hog the attention, okay? We don't want to make the whole meeting about us. We don't want to put the spotlight on us. The first meeting should be 100% about our prospect, their company, and them as an individual, okay? The second thing that we talked about was to show up informed, right? We want to make sure that they don't have to re-explain their business and tell us everything about them, because that's extra work and nobody likes to do extra work. So let's not make our prospects do extra work, and let's make life easy for them because it's already hard enough. And let's do that by showing up informed about their business, all right? Third thing we talked about was don't be pushy about next steps, okay? We don't like to be pushed. You don't like to have a car salesman say, buy this, or do this, take this action. No, the best way to do this, guys, to avoid being perceived as pushy, is to ask them first, hey, what do you think our next step should be based on today's conversation, right? And let them drive the car. You don't have to push them, okay? Fourth, last but not least, what we talked about was admit when they are not a good fit, all right? You want to do this because if you push them into your process and they're not a good fit, you're just going to waste their time, right? And we talked about how admitting when someone is not a good fit actually builds up so much trust. So again, those are the 4 things that we can do to be perceived as more trustworthy, more likable, and get that favorable first impression from our prospects. So there you have it, guys. Those are the 4 steps that we can take to increase the likelihood of being liked by our prospects and our clients, but also come across as more trustworthy and making their life a lot easier too, right? So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you're not doing so already, follow me on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you are trying to break into tech sales or you're already in the field and you want to get better, more sharp, and get some new tips and tricks, go ahead and join us at the B2B Syndicate. See what we got cooking up over there. All right. With that said, guys, hope you enjoy the day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take it easy now.